It depends a lot on the context in which it's being used, and when we had discussions during the development of the EYLF, we often moved in between using the two words. So to some extent we use them interchangeably just in everyday conversations about it. But when we really wanted to distinguish between the two, what we did was think very much in terms of a framework as being a looser guide, almost a philosophical framework that people could work within, that gave some guidance but wasn't prescriptive at all, whereas a curriculum, in the sense that it's often used, can be seen by some people as being fairly prescriptive, and we didn't want that. To me, a curriculum isn't a syllabus, because a syllabus does spell out really exactly what should be covered. So I never think of the EYLF as a curriculum in that sense. If I think of it as a curriculum, then I'm thinking of it as a curriculum in the sense that a curriculum really means to me everything that's experienced during the day, whether it's planned or unplanned. So it's still quite a loose sort of a term, but I prefer the term framework because I think it gives plenty of scope for decision making within the broad framework, and it's not at all prescriptive.
The perception of curriculum can sometimes fall into the trap of something that's prescriptive, that's measurable, that's kind of telling you how to do things. Although I think the way that curriculum is understood in early childhood is more a way of thinking, describing what happens, all the stuff that goes on during the day, what it means, how it's talked about, how it's theorised, the relationships that are produced through what happens in a curriculum. So I think that curriculum in education broadly is a contested term, and I think it's really good to be able to say what are the many meanings of curriculum that we might have, and think through, well, why is it that we have that definition? Why is it that we think of curriculum in a particular way? In terms of frameworks, Australia has lots of them. I guess we also have a perception that a framework is a document that gives us some principles or guidelines or outcomes about how we might undertake our practice or see our professional identities. But at the same time, a framework can be theoretical, so it doesn't necessarily mean just that piece of paper that we're working with. A framework can be something that you produce based on the people who are in your service, based on the community that you live in. It doesn't necessarily have to be a document that's a framework. So I think they're two very contested terms. I think it's really exciting to think through what they mean to each and every early childhood person or children's services person across Australia. And wouldn't it be fantastic to gather all those different understandings and, have some kind of debate about what they mean for us?
The New South Wales document is called the Curriculum Framework, and I was thinking, oh, well, that's interesting, they've used both. For me, the use of the term framework is more empowering because it says to you, this is not something that you take and implement as it is. It's a set of guidelines for you to make locally meaningful and real. But I also think there is a power in the word curriculum, because it speaks to a whole different community around education intention. So maybe using both is useful. I think framework is a good concept for now, but I don't think we should let people be frightened of using the word curriculum, and in fact I think we should start encouraging it, as long as we never mean it to be some kind of prescription or syllabus of what you do every day.
To my mind, a curriculum is like a syllabus. It's like it prescribes content. It gives a philosophy, perhaps, and a rationale, but it also kind of tells you what to do. Whereas a framework is a skeleton, is a frame, and the blanks, the empty spaces, get filled in by the person who's using that framework. So the ELF is very much a framework and not a curriculum, because it doesn't tell you what to do. It gives you some guiding principles, some guiding ideas, some ideas about what really matters. But you, as the educator, have to fill in the spaces. You have to decide what it is you're going to do based on your knowledge of the children, the families, the communities, and based on your own professional knowledge. So I see a framework as much less prescriptive, much more of a guide.